Hey you guys, I am Chelsea J. This is my first YouTube video. Hopefully you all like what you're gonna see. If you have any questions, comments, or just want to see a certain look, don't forget to comment in the box below, and don't forget to subscribe so you'll know when I'm putting on my next video. Yeah, so stay tuned. Okay, you guys, so let's jump right in. I'm taking the color Raw Sienna and Burnt Orange. This is in my Modern Renaissance palette. I really love this palette because it has so many different shades that you can choose from. The only thing I would say about this palette, it does have a little bit of fallout, which is not a problem though, because you can catch it towards the end once you put on your foundation and all that stuff. Okay, you guys, moving on to my lid color. I'm using the color Real Girl in my Modern Renaissance palette as well. This color, I really do love it. It's like a burnt orange, so it's really easy to work with. It blends really well. I'm using my Urban Decay brush. I can't really tell you where I got this brush from. I think it came out of one of my palettes from Urban Decay, but it is really good for blending. And so now I'm just blending that shade in so that it can come together. Blending is the key whenever you're putting on shadow, no matter what color it is. You want to make sure that you blend properly. So moving on to my brow bone, I am taking the color Soft Ochre. This is in my MAC paint pot. I like to use this for not only cut creases but also brow bone highlights because I think that this is so important. It adds a little bit of character to your brow. I don't know how to explain it, but I really do like it. I'm taking the shade Primavera. This is also in my Modern Renaissance palette. This palette is really it is so dear to my heart. I promise you, I love it. If you haven't invested in a palette, I definitely say get this one. Moving on to primer, I am using the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I really do like this one. It smooths everything out. It makes everything come together before you put your foundation on. Primer is so important. I don't know how to express this. Like, if you miss primer, then girl, go ahead and start over. So as you can see, I have a lot of hyperpigmentation in my skin. I am using the LA Girl Pro Conceal color corrector. This is in the color orange, as you can see. It's probably not called orange, but I call it orange. So yeah, so I'm just taking that Pro Concealer and I'm just kind of working it in with my finger. You see I'm not using a lot. This is only because I don't want it to change the color of my foundation. That's something that you do not want. And if I put too much, it will make my foundation come off as orange. And I don't know if y'all have had that problem, but I definitely have. So yeah, I'm just working the product in with my finger, just kind of doing it in circular motions. You don't have to use your finger. That's just what works for me. Moving on to foundation, I am first taking my MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus. This is my favorite primer water. It kind of gets your face ready for the foundation, so you want to make sure that you let this dry before you apply your foundation too. I am using the Milani Conceal Perfect 2-in-1 foundation in the color tan. This is one of my favorite drugstore products. It's a really good foundation and it's not that expensive, so I would definitely say try it. And I know sometimes it can be hard trying to find a foundation, especially in a drugstore, because you can't really tell what color it is until you get home. But yeah, this is a really good foundation. I definitely recommend it, especially if you are a college student or just somebody on a budget. I highly recommend this foundation because it is affordable and it's pretty good. So yeah, I'm just taking my Real Techniques buffing brush and I'm just buffing that product into my skin. This is just trying to, blend, make everything come together, which that should be your main goal. You want to make sure your foundation is coming together. Now I am going to take my Shape Tape concealer. This is my number one favorite holy grail concealer. Like, when I tell y'all this stuff is bomb, it is bomb. This is in the shade Tan Sand. It's one of my favorites. Like I said before, I think it's up there with NARS. Like, NARS has a concealer, it's like a creamy custard. That's one of my favorites, and this is right up there with. So here I'm just taking my sponge and I'm just working that product into my skin. You want to make sure that you blend as the best as you can. Like I said before, the most important rule in makeup is blending, blending, blending. I cannot stress this enough. You want to make sure that you work the product in. Make sure you don't forget anything, especially like those little lines that I have at the top of my forehead. Make sure you blend those in as best as you can. The sponge that I'm using, I think I got it from TJ Maxx. It was like a couple of bucks, of like $4, I think. But the best sponges are by Beauty Blender. I live by those. I would have used mine, but it's a little bit dirty, so I needed a clean sponge to use on my makeup. So yeah. Moving on to my favorite part, which is contouring. I am using my LA Girl Pro Conceal Concealer. This is in the shade Beautiful Bronze. This is one of my favorite concealers. If you're looking for something, like I said, on a budget, sis, this is it. This is $2.99 from the hair store. You cannot beat it. Yeah, so I'm just taking that and putting it in the areas that I want a little bit more definition to my face, because my face is really kind of round and flat. So this is just add a little bit of definition to my face, and something that I really need whenever I'm doing my makeup is definition. So I'm just taking my beauty blender, the same one that I use for my highlighted areas, and just blending that product into my skin, making it all come together and it be unison. And who doesn't want that? You want something that's going to come together and look like, like you did that. Like, you don't want somebody to be like, okay, she highlighted there and contoured there. You want it all to come together and look really nice. So now I'm just setting everything that I just put any liquids on or any creamy concealers on, and you can use a face powder or you can use a setting powder. My favorites are by Laura Mercier. That's one of my favorites. But what I'm doing before I put on my powder, I am applying some of my face powder. This is by Cover FX, and this is just gonna set all that hard work that I just put in with my concealer and my contouring. So I'm using my Maybelline. I think this is in the shade Light. This is the setting powder that I have been using. I kind of stumbled upon this one because I ran out of my Laura Mercier and I'm not near Ulta, so I had to go to a drugstore and I found this, and I think this is so good for a drugstore. It was about $7, and it was so good, y'all. When I tell y'all, if y'all run out of that, like y'all holy grail setting powders, try this by Maybelline. It is so good. So yeah, I definitely would use this again. I'm just blending that in using my beauty blender still. Now I'm about to sweep away all that powder that I just put on. This is by, I don't know the name of this brush, but it's by Real Techniques. Yeah, so I'm just sweeping that away. I'm working it in the middle of my nose and sweeping the rest away. I'm putting this on the side of my eyes because I'm going to add a little bit of shadow. And I forgot this step when I was baking or setting my face, but I'm going to go back and apply some of that Real Grwm that I used at the beginning of the tutorial. And this is just going to make my eyeshadow just come together. You never want to just leave your eyes just bare. You want to make sure if you're using a liner or you want to put a shadow down there, put something down there. Just don't leave it bare. So I'm just making that come together. I'm putting on my bottom lash line, and I'm just sweeping that and working that into my lash line. So now I'm taking Primavera and I'm putting in my inner corner of my eye. This is just going to open my eye up just a little bit so it won't be just, boring, which nobody wants that. So in a minute, I'm just going to sweep that product away. And I only put that setting powder there so it can catch a little bit of that fallout, because like I said before, the only problem with the Renaissance palette is that it does have a lot of fallout. So now I'm just applying a little bit of blush. This is from the Wet n Wild collection. I'll put the name of this blush in the description box below because I forgot it. So yeah, I was just working that into my skin. I am taking a little bit of bronzer to my nose because for some reason my contour was not showing up the way I wanted to. So I'm just taking a brush and just working that onto the sides of my nose, just building a little button nose, I guess you could say. I already have one, but I'm just kind of, I guess, accentuating that. Yeah, so now I am just taking a little bit of my setting powder because my eyebrows tend to get a little bit oily. After that, I am spraying my face with Fix Plus. This is just going to set all that work that I just did to my face. Now I am taking my highlight. This is out of the Bronze Duo palette by Makeup Forever. This is one of my favorites. This color really does show up and it's really pigmented, and I really do love that about it. I'm just taking it on my forehead, a little bit on my cheeks, and just giving me some highlights, some color, girl. Yes. And with my finger, I'm popping a little bit of that highlight onto my Cupid's bow. If only I had a deeper Cupid's bow, I guess you could say, because mine, you can't really see it. Yeah, that's the end of my tutorial. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I will be back next week to drop another video. Comment below what you want to see, and see you next week.